All right, friends, it's Team Man. We back with a new video on our good friend Jason Blaha. Yes, man, the fitness influencer himself, the gym slave, lifting, recruiting slave, Blaha. Well, he just posted this a bit ago. I don't know. I just caught on to this now. I figured I'm going to review this video. Let's see what Blaha is going to say now. Do training legs make the upper body grow faster? Wow, interesting. Okay. I've seen these scientific things about that, where they did their legs and then they correlated. You know, they did their arms and their arms got bigger because they did their legs. I don't know, but whatever.
Does training your legs cause your upper body to grow due to release of testosterone or growth hormone? Hey everybody.
Yeah, it can help to release growth. It can really it helps in increasing hormones. Will that make your upper body grow if you're eating bagels, the same meal that you've been eating all the time you're adapted to? No. Zero.
Thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today, because this is...
There's the answer. The video's over.
Really something I guess is a pervasive myth, and I thought that this myth had died years and years ago. Right, I thought it had died years ago. Then I had someone ask me in my comments, "Hey, is this?"
Oh man, you can raise your hormones to sky high to sky heaven. If you don't eat, there's no point. You know the funny thing about people that take steroids? All of a sudden they start eating. They eat. They go to buffets and everything. All those top bodybuilders, Olympians, they all head down to the buffet. They head down to the Golden Griddle. They eat like tons and tons of food. Look at their challenges, the 10,000 calorie challenge and all that. Are you, the average guy lifting in the gym, eating like that? No. See, that's the thing. The moment these people do buy steroids, they finally eat, but they don't realize that what they're doing is it's artificial anyways. But like I said, whatever. I digress. So, yeah, nobody out there is really eating. They're relying on weights to build muscles, and weights don't build muscles. And just because you elevated your hormone doesn't mean you're going to build any muscles because they were elevated. Magically going to build them eating those the fake artificial diet, bagel diet. It'll definitely build you some fake muscles if you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, because the testosterone will absorb a lot of glycogen in the form of energy into your muscles. They can store energy, so does your fat cells.
True, or is it a myth? Like, I've heard this a lot of times, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this is an old myth, and this is one of those where even I remember Chris Jones, who I've been friends with, who said, I think he said 9 or 10 years ago in a video, look, it's a myth, it's not true, but it's a really useful myth. And that's the reality of it. I'm going to go into the details a little bit as to why, but I'm going to agree with him. How many guys started training their legs because of this myth and actually ended up with better fitness, better physiques, better athleticism, and were just overall stronger and fitter? A ton of them, thousands and thousands probably did, because they thought, aha, if I train my legs, because even magazines and books used to talk about it way back in the day when I was younger. If I train my legs, it'll make my body release more tests, more growth hormone. Those are anabolic hormones, and it will cause my upper body to grow.
Not if you're not eating. Not if you're adapted to your 3 meals, shitty meals a day, your bagel meal a day. But then again, you're eating carbohydrates. You're eating an artificial diet called carbohydrates. And so those will build you some fake muscles, you know, sarcoplasmic muscles. Yeah. Okay, and what's your point exactly here?
Right, it's a great theory. Great theory.
I don't know anybody that's eating that amount of protein. Let's say I did a damaging session. I am shooting for an adaptation, and I go to the gym. I shoot for my adaptation on the day. I damage my muscles. They're totally wrecked right now. I can barely move my body. It's weakened state. I head down to some. Let's say I'm not going to eat like that at home. So I'm going to head down to some fucking restaurant like a buffet, right? I sit down and I eat for the next couple of hours down there. What am I going to eat? What am I going to get? A whole bowl of shrimps, a whole bowl of mussels, like, you know, these seafood stuff, man. Maybe a whole bowl of beef, like beef steak, maybe some roast beef, some fish. I don't know, whatever I can get my hands on when it comes to protein. I'm going to eat shitloads and truckloads of protein when I'm down there at the buffet. That is my major staple. Maybe at the end I might do something like a cheat thing when I'm done eating all that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it'll be an ice cream. Maybe it'll be some fruit or something. I'm not really sure. Could be like a few pieces of watermelon or something like that. I'm not against any of that kind of stuff if that's what you really want to do. But I'm just saying, you have to eat a lot. It isn't based on 32 grams of protein. And that will shut off the catabolic, that will convert the catabolic hormone to an androgen so it doesn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. Get it? That puts you in an anabolic growth state. That's what will keep you, that's what will make you keep growing. And if you repeat that every single day, now after that damaging session, you keep eating like that every day. Like, I mean, literally, so you're full all the time. You're never hungry. You're always in a building state. There's nothing being broken down. And then you have to catch up with building up again. Well, I'm hungry again. We're breaking down again. Oh, I need to build up again. Well, it's never building. It's never really going up the hill. It's like a guy trying to push a boulder up a hill. Every time he pushes the boulder, he relaxes, and then the boulder goes back again. And then he tries pushing the boulder back up the hill again. Then he relaxes, the boulder starts falling backward again. Then he starts pushing the boulder back up again. Instead, to keep pushing the boulder till he gets to the top without stopping, he'll never make it there. Get it? Yeah, like all of you. Nobody's making it in the gym because all of you people are pushing a boulder and then you're relaxing and then you're pushing the boulder and relaxing.
So we weren't running into problems. Yeah, it causes some transient spikes in them, but the truth is it's not enough to matter for one. In other words, people...
Look, your major... Man, some transient spikes. Transient, yeah. They're transient spikes, the hormones. Look, your major driver of your hypertrophy, that's what you want to call it, whatever you want to call this, building muscles, whatever, is going to be your training in a buffet. You need to train to eat. That's what you need to do. You need to train your stomach to keep stretching, to get bigger and more stretching, to accommodate more food so that you can grow bigger and stronger. That's it. The whole training thing is just the stimulus. The growth part is all based on the training outside, what you do outside that gym. That gym, what are you training there for? 45 minutes, an hour or something? Some people, 1 hour, 2 hours, maybe the max, whatever they're doing there. Okay. What are you doing the rest of the time to build those muscles now? Now that you stimulated, so-called stimulated, what are you doing to grow them? Oh, you thought the weights grew them. That 45 minutes in the gym grows a muscle. Okay. Yeah, you keep believing that.
We'll get hung up in this idea.
That's what Blaha believes.
That because these are things that people take in large doses synthetically, and they produce muscle growth, very much confirmed in studies. Right?
They take these things synthetically and they produce muscle growth? No. They take in super high physiological dosages. Your body thinks it's in a starvation state. And so anything that you eat is being absorbed at this point. See what I mean? It's different because you're not starving. Look, when you actually naturally starve yourself, these starvation diets, they call them fasting diets or starvation diets. Your hormones, they go all sky high. Why? Because it's trying to preserve you because you're starving. Get it? Duh. It's trying to preserve and recycle whatever's there. It's trying to keep you alive. But in this case, you're injecting it endogenously. And your body thinks, hey, we're starving. This is weird. Our hormones are up. But now you're feeding. You're actually eating. You're not really starving. You're not in a starvation diet. You're eating, and then you're pretending your body's starving by injecting these hormones sky high. So your body's going to start absorbing all this stuff all over the place. Try injecting those hormones and don't eat anything and find out what happens. Nothing. The hormones are not going to build your body.
We have clinical trials in the U.S. on testosterone, right, done in the lab, ethically, legally, that show pretty profound muscle growth from testosterone. It's very significant.
Yeah, very little, very little. Whatever you're eating there. If you're not eating, how the hell can you grow anything if you're not eating? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, but whatever, Blaha.
Right? Even when all other variables are equal. It literally, even at moderate amounts, doubles the muscle growth of people who are lifting weights. Literally doubles it. Okay.
Yeah, if they're eating, it'll help to absorb whatever you're eating there. But I don't know what you're eating, a phony carbohydrate diet. You're just loading carbs in your muscles.
So people see that and say, aha, but they're not realizing the levels. They're not realizing that a lot of times in these studies, they're taking people's levels.
And a lot of the times, like I've explained to you before, muscles only ever get damaged in an adaptation, but then they quickly adapt by doing what? By growing bigger, by repairing and remodeling stronger. So they're resilient from further assault. So there's zero growth there.
To 3, 4
I'm
times.
not saying that you can't get a little bit more growth by eating a lot. You can get it to hypertrophy to a certain degree, but it'll cease, it'll stop.
Times the normal amount, 3 or 4 times, not a 20% boost, not a 10% boost, a 200 to 300% increase.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And it's not just spiking there a little bit through the day.
What is your point? What is your point exactly? Man, without eating, forget it.
Transient, it is staying there for weeks at a time and never dipping. That's when you see those results in the lab. Now, people might chime in and say, well, but maybe it'll produce a fraction of that, because if it's a small fraction of it, and we'll get to that in a minute. All right, what about...
Have you seen what Blaha eats, man? He barely eats anything. He can't even afford to eat. He can't build any muscles. He's just a lifting slave, wasting his time, pretending to build muscles in a garage by lifting weights all day. He has to tell you he's building muscles. He can't show you he's building muscles. He has to tell you and say, look, if you do this exercise, you're going to build your arms. If you do this heavy bench press, you're going to get a chest. If you do these heavy squats, if you do this deadlift, you're going to get a big back, or you're going to get these big legs and everything, or these calves, or whatever. Or he's always doing his arms, complaining about how small they are. It's a genetic thing and all that. They're all excuses. These are all excuses by people that are failures in life. Get it? Rich people will tell you the same thing. These are all excuses by poor people. Poor people make excuses. You understand me? Yeah. That's why Venezuela went bankrupt, because the government, he started stealing from the rich people. He took it and gave it to the poor people. What were they going to do? They spent it all. What's left? Nothing. A bankrupt society. They don't understand that you need these businesses and things to run the economy. You don't bankrupt your rich people, the rich people that provide jobs and everything, and the system will be collapsed. Poor people don't give anything back to the system. They just take. They don't give.
HGH, it doesn't cause muscle growth in the lab. We need to be clear, that's not why people take HGH. Okay? People take HGH because it helps them stay way leaner, helps with recovery, helps with tendons, right? Helps speed up tendon healing. It reduces fat gain so people can bulk harder while staying leaner.
Okay.
Can also speed up fat loss a little bit, right? That's kind of where that's why people take it. By itself, it doesn't cause any muscle growth in the lab. And when we've seen muscle growth, the few studies that have shown that it actually does happen usually take a year to see results. In other words, 3-4 month studies show nothing. The only studies that show any increase in muscle size are when patients are kept on it for 1 year or longer. That's what the data shows.
Okay.
That's what the data shows. You really think 30 minutes of elevated amount after your training is going to do that? And again, we're talking significant amounts here.
I don't know. Will it?
All right. So what is the data shown on hormones post-workout? Well, this has been...
You know, the funny thing, his channel, hormones and lifting weights and doing these exercises. But the one thing he's missed in the formula to build that cake, food, bro, food. Be an anabolic growth state. That's all you need to do to grow muscles. And you don't need any of these people. You don't need to be a lifting slave. You don't need to listen to any of these people. All you need is money and eat as much as you can all day, all night. That's it. Be an anabolic growth state. And I guarantee you, you go to the gym, you lift, your muscles going to keep growing. They're going to get bigger than the last time.
Studied actually, it was about 8 or 10 years ago. It might have been a little longer back. There was a
And you're going to get super strong too. Want to know why? Because the catabolic hormone will convert to an androgen, so it doesn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor, giving you more force production. And those myocytic the myocytic receptors, they're going to fucking widen. They're going to widen more to accommodate more of these hormones, thus giving you even more force production. So is food anabolic? Of course it is. Why would they give 36 eggs to burn victims? To keep them anabolic. Get it? Why didn't they give them hormones to repair their damaged skin? Why didn't they inject them with steroids if they're so good? Want to know why? Because it's artificial. It's not going to work. They need food. So it wouldn't matter whether they gave them the hormone or gave them the hormone and the food and the hormone. They just simply needed the food. They needed the eggs, their 36 eggs. It was packed with enough of the nutrients to repair and remodel their skin, their burned skin. See, it puts you in an anabolic growth state. How does it do that? You don't need hormones, because if you're anabolic, it means you've converted the catabolic hormone to an androgen, so it doesn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor, making you anabolic. Get it, guy? Yeah, man. So you don't need steroids. What you need is money. But if you don't have money, then do it the cheap way, the phony way. Buy these cheesy steroids, inject them, and then see what happens. But then when you can't afford to buy more of them, you only afforded to buy some, you'll notice all the phony gains will go away because you never built anything. Hello.
really detailed study, a meta-analysis that looked at post-workout hormone levels of all these different hormones. And what they found was that the amount that these hormones were elevated post-training, that test and HGH had no impact on muscle growth. Okay, they found no correlation between increased levels, because we need to be clear, these levels are going to go up.
You want to know what has impact on muscle growth? Food, and a lot of it. Protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown.
Training. But the amount that they went up seemed to have no impact on muscle growth.
Of course not. How can it have an impact on muscle growth if there isn't anything to build? There's no material to build. Hello?
It's just a response by the body. And it wasn't even correlated, meaning people who produced higher testosterone response post-training than people who produced lower, they didn't gain any more muscle. It wasn't correlated.
Okay.
Same with HGH. It didn't seem to matter. Okay? The only hormone, and they studied like 6 or 7 different hormones. You know, the only hormone that was correlated with extra muscle growth post-training was what? Cortisol. Now, this caused a lot of debate at the time, because the question became, okay, it's correlated, but is it causing it? There were some theories here. One theory was that the extra catabolic response from the cortisol then caused a larger anabolic response as a countermeasure by the body. Okay? And therefore, as the levels were higher, it could be correlated. So if you tried to blunt cortisol, which a lot of products and stuff out there try to do, then it might blunt hypertrophy. Well, when
cortisol does blunt hypertrophy. If your cortisol levels are high and you're catabolic, of course it blunts it. Hello. You want to shut it off completely. You want to suppress it. How do you do that? Anabolic growth state. Eat.
you look at certain things that reduce inflammation post-workout, they've been shown to reduce benefits. Like look at the ice plunges, cold baths. When you apply cold to a muscle, too close to a training window, what happens? It grows less. It's been found in the lab, been found in meta-analysis. There have been some studies that show supplementing vitamin C or vitamin E really close to a workout could blunt training response, okay? So could be because they're lowering cortisol. This is one hypothesis.
Vitamin C is filled with oxalate.
The other hypothesis was simply that cortisol levels go up the harder you train. In other words, the harder and more intense your training is, probably the larger the stress hormone response, okay? So in that case, the cortisol isn't causing any growth. It's just correlated because guess what?
How could a cortisol cause a growth? That doesn't make any sense, man. Food is what causes growth. What is Coach talking about?
Cortisol goes up as a result of training really, really hard. The harder you train, the more it'll go up.
Okay.
And what else happens? Well, usually the harder you train, it's usually associated with better gains, right? Trained really
Wait. So the harder you train, it's associated with better gains? Yeah, because you're eating artificial diet, carbohydrates. So the harder you train, you're an endurance athlete. Get it? Bodybuilding is not based on training hard and training in an endurance state, coming in every day and training muscles. Bodybuilding is based on damaging muscles and then allowing them a lot of time to repair and remodel during that entire week. They got to go through a repair and a remodeling. Blood levels are elevated and protein synthesis is extended for that entire week until the repair and the remodeling of that muscle. And only then will it ever damage again. It will never damage again in that period, within that whatever period it is it's repairing and remodeling. It'll never damage again. It won't damage if you come back the next day. I'm sorry. And you're not gonna want to do that because you're gonna be in a lot of pain and sore. Your muscles are gonna be bent tight. They're gonna hurt a lot. Restriction of movement, reduced force capacities, a whole bunch of stuff. So this makes absolutely no sense what he says. This is stupid training, okay?
versus train really hard so you get big faster.
I will. I will get big faster than you. Want to know why? Because I'll damage my muscles on the day, and then I'll head down to the buffet and I'll eat for hours and hours. And then I'll do that for the rest of the week. And then I'll weigh myself to make sure that I put on at least a minimum of, I don't know, 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds a week. I could do that. And then I'll come back the following week and keep doing it again if I'm a serious lifter. But if I'm a yo-yo lifter like you, Blaha, I will train every day and imagine that these weights are building me muscles every day. The smart person, they damage the muscles and then they go feed those muscles to grow down at the buffet. They train down at the buffet the rest of the week. But you're training endlessly here, looking for a different outcome every single day in the gym, thinking you're going to get a different outcome, which is retarded.
9 out of 10 times, barring some genetics and diet and other stuff, the majority of the time the person who trains.
There's so many people like you that have this crazy belief out there. They're almost just insane as you are, that a weight is going to build you a muscle if you train hard or whatever. Yeah, like I said, endurance people, when they finish running or doing their endurance sport, what do? They load carbohydrates in their muscles. They blow up. Have you seen some of these lifters now when they go on a carb diet after a protein diet? They blow up. Yeah, those are phony muscles. They're not real.
Already gets better results. I think we all have observed this over the years.
That's a type of hypertrophy. They call it sarcoplasmic. Have you seen Tristan Lee recently, man? Have you seen his before-after pictures? Come on, man. Have you seen fucking Larry Wheels after his competition when he went to the Golden Griddle? In 1 week, he gained 54 pounds. 54 pounds of what? You think that's all muscle? It's sarcoplasmic, dude. Get it? He just put back what he lost, some phony muscle. That's it. The look that he exudes is just for the visual aspect. It's just visual. The whole pulling strength is based on hormones that he's injecting.
With a few exceptions, it's usually the case. So maybe that's the case. So maybe the training harder is what's causing that. So here's what we come down to answer the question.
The training harder is causing that. Oh, whatever, man.
There's no evidence at all. And if you look at the sum total way that the hormones work, and what we study in the lab studies on test levels, HGH levels, how they impact muscle growth at different levels when they're added to a human. We look at the studies on hormone response. None of this stuff doesn't affect muscle growth. So therefore, the hormone release from training one muscle group is probably not going to cause muscle growth in a different muscle. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope.
Yeah, it will cause, if you did your legs and you do your arms, let's just say for an example, the hormones, they're fluctuating. So they will help definitely absorb more of this glycogen into the muscle and making appear your arms are bigger. Or whatever you're doing there, it really depends. I don't know. I can't tell you. If there was an adaptation, possibly. I don't know. And you're eating, of course. If you're not eating, forget it, man. It's just a waste of time. And not eating an artificial diet, carbohydrates all day. Okay, one little tiny piece of meat and everything else on your plate's carbs all day, and Coca-Colas and carbs and bread and pasta and rice. and fucking potatoes and whatever else you're eating there, French fries, and I don't know, man, dude. These noodle things and whatever, all these weird things, and chips and bags of chips and da 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 da, and then donuts on top of it, then your coffee and whatever else. It's all carbs, dude. But I'll see you in the next one, man.
It's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.
Very informative, man. I'll be talking to you guys and gals next time, my friend, as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Helps with the algorithm. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends.